prior to Shavuot. In other words, Shabbos will be Erev Shavuos. Here we are Monday, so we're already have entered the week of Malchus. Whose week is the week of Malchus? David Malchus. As we discussed, he's excited already. We already discussed last week the connection between the concept of Malchus and the concept of Shavuos, because the Erev Shavuos, which will be Shabbos, is Malchus Shebe Malchus. It's the pinnacle of the day of David HaMelech. It's David HaMelech squared. Okay, and we know David HaMelech was born on Chag HaShavuos, and he passes away on Chag HaShavuos, and he dies learning Torah, being interrupted from his limud Torah. And some of this we went over last time, and there's many, many sources of this. The Yerushalmi in Chagiga says that the death of David HaMelech took place on Shavuos. The Talmud Bavli in Shabbos describes that the Amelus of Torah, Daf Lamed Amud Aleph, describes the death of David HaMelech, and in the Gemara in Brachos at the beginning, Gimel Amud Beis also describes David's nightly routine, which was a combination of Limud Torah and Shiros and Tishbachos. There lies the true and deep understanding of what the end game of Malchus to Malchus is, when you can combine two disparate elements, the intellectual and the emotional. Avodas Hashem, like we wear tefillin on the head and the arm. Shibud HaMoach and Shibud HaLev. When it all comes together, that's MALCUT YISRAEL. And that's why David HaMelech was an expert at, among many things, he was an expert at both the construction of instruments, the design of instruments, and the implementation. He designed. The Navi says that he actually built them. He was the builder of the Stradivarius of his day. And there are in the Medrash, and this is in the Pirkei Elazar Lamed Beis, speaks about the strings of the songs of various periods in Jewish history. Well, there's a 8th string instrument, a 10th string instrument. The 10 string is associated with further, right? Because 8 is already beyond Malchus. It's already, the Malchus is complete, but the full completion of the Malchus is with the number 10. That's the 10 Sfiros. That's also the 10. The 10. What's that?
It's the crane. And they have the crane.
No, the crane is the one Okay, that's very interesting. And the concept is that there's really more than 7 nations of Canaan. There are really 10. So you really want full Malchus. We speak about this side of the Yarden. And then there is Ever Yarden, the other side of the Yarden. There are 3 nations over there. Keni, Knizi, Kadmoni. So there really are 10 nations in the full expression of Malchut. Malchut is already established at 7, but it proceeds beyond 7 to 10. Just like the Spheros, the lower Spheros are the lower 7 Spheros, and there are 3 upper Spheros that really represent the source, or how shall I say, the origin, or the metaphysical part of Malchus Hashem, and that is Chachma Bina Das, the 3 upper Spheros, which we really don't really relate to that. There is no one of the Ushpizin who's identified with those, because those are really Hashem's realm. They're kind of beyond the human scope. They're a part of our neshama, which is not revealed in this world, but that it certainly exists. And our job is to create the shiluv, the tikkun between those forces. So who are the 3 upper nations that we got to get rid of? They are Keni, Knizi, Kadmoni, identified as Ammon, Moab, Edom. Ammon, Moab, Edom. Edom is Amalek. And the other ones are, Ammon and Moab, they're associated with Lot. Lot. Mm-hmm. Right. So Yishmael is something completely separate, because Yishmael has their own deal with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they have been given lands and wealth and all sorts of brachos, but not Malchus over Eretz Yisrael. But they are, as according to most of our Svarim Kadoshim say, the last obstacle between full sovereignty and
So we're now in that period of.
we're now in Galut Yishmael. But some say that Galut Yishmael has already, for all intents and purposes, been terminated. When did it terminate? In 1967. Now there's many Mekoros for that. 67.
Oh,
With the Kibush Yerushalayim, because Kibush Yerushalayim is the capital city. Once there was Kibush Yerushalayim, everything else flows from there, and that remains the sticky point between Yishmael and today, being a day in which a significant step forward in the world stage with the founding of with the establishment of the new embassy. You know where it is? It's in Arnona. Now, you want to know the significance of Arnona? What does Arnona mean? Arnona is the tax, that's what we call taxes today, imposed by foreign governments on the Jewish people. So much so, remember last time we learned all about Shemitah, the Gemara says in Tainus, that a person, that in a Shemitah year, you're not allowed to sow the land of Israel, right? But if there is an Arnona, meaning a foreign government, it was mostly Persia, by the way, in that era, imposed heavy taxes upon us, then you're permitted to sow the fields even on Shemitah year. In other words, to violate Shabbos, as it were. Why? Mishum pikuach nefesh. Just like you violate Shabbos for pikuach nefesh, if we don't give them their Arnona, they are going to capture us and imprison us and kill us. So out of pikuach nefesh, you can right now. So isn't it interesting that it's in the section called Arnona, as if to say, no more Arnona. That's my observation, by the way. And it's only temporary, yeah. It's only temporary. Now, there's another consulate or some kind on Agron Street. Do you know where that is located? Where is Agron Street? Do you know?
It's in Yerushalayim proper.
Yeah, right near where? Right near Shariafa, right? So that's the Palestinian embassy. Gee, I'd rather have them out in Arnona and we can have Agron. So you see, we still have quite a ways to go.
Why is it better?
Because one is Yerushalayim, but not Har HaBayis. What they're really saying is, we're modeh on Yerushalayim, that's the step forward that we've taken, but we're not yet modeh on Har HaBayis. That's precisely what happened here. Because the embassy, the consulate on Agron, which is basically in the old city, remains the liaison to the Palestinians, which means they deny the connection to Israel, to that area, and they choose to put on the outskirts. Now, it's very, very interesting also, anybody who's been to Arnona knows that it's very close to where? Arnona is right on, that's correct, it's on Derech Chevron. You can jump from there to Kever Rachel in 10 minutes or less. What's the transition of Malchus Yisrael? We go from Chevron, Beit Lechem, that's the city of David's family. Those are the two cities of David's home. And he was first a melech in Chevron, and then you got to pass through Beit Lechem, and then onward to Yerushalayim. So to me, it's very symbolic that it's a step. We've gotten as far as Beit Lechem, which is, Malchus David, but guess where? Not in Ir David, but in everywhere else. It's kind of parallel to the establishment of Malchus David in Hebron, in which it was a 7-year period in which the world was coming together. Okay, the Malchut was spreading David's fame, but it was incomplete. That's where we are at today, and I think that's the symbolism of it being there. That's my observation, just my thought, having driven through there many times. We're on Derech Hebron. It took 7 years, and then there was 33 years of Malchut Yerushalayim, and a long way to go until the Beit HaMikdash Hopefully it'll go all very quick as these events in front of us are going quick. So, again, I promise you in today's shiur, which we're now going to focus on the events, I call it, these are almost Hayinu Kechomin events. Because what do we say? Yeshuas Hashem Keref Ayin. I don't know, but it's dizzying how quickly certain things are taking place. Because, so, let's say, Bikesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what?
He wanted to bestow
The Kates, right? He wanted to bring, once it comes time to get out of Mitzrayim, we're booted out. That's it. You have to be ready to move. Things, when they move quickly. Okay, so let's review the events, and I'm saying it in the context of Chag HaShavuos, and let me just reiterate the concept. Chag HaShavuos is very associated with David HaMelech. We said that's the Malchus of Sheva. We went into that in great length last week. So just, if you didn't hear the shiur last week, go on to the YouTube site and listen to that shiur, which is Unlocking the Secrets of the Omer Part 2. I'm not going to repeat myself too much. I just referenced it. But now we're moving from 7 to 10. So today's shiur is much more about 10. Why is 10 a central number for Shavuos? Because Aseres HaDibros. And let me I'll explain what that is. So, but we're trying to understand this full expression of Malchus. After Malchus, Shebe Malchus, we go to Shavuos. So we go from the 7 sevens, and we go all the way until Matan Torah. We transition between 7 and 10. And that's the transition between the partial Malchus Yisrael and the full Malchus Yisrael. What are the extra 3 nations besides the 7 Canaanite nations that we have to exert our power over? Ammon, Moab, and Edom. The pretenders to the throne. Right? Lot, of course, yields us Rus, shows you that Lot, because of Avram, had a chelek. And of course, Esav has a chelek because of Yitzchak. So that's, mishpucha, as they say. And they have their own thoughts. They had their own. Esav wanted to be the Bechor. He sold the Bechor, but did he really want to sell the Bechorah? And the same thing with Lot. Lot is very much associated with the fact that he wanted to control Am Yisrael and Yaacov. He says, everything's mine, abanim banai. He tried, bikesh lavan la'akores akol. He really tried to absorb Yaakov, and that attempt is another of the attempts. These are the people who try to, how shall I say, do away with Klal Yisrael because they want to claim the Malchus for themselves. They have their opposing forces. Lot, then of course the various Golios, Mitzrayim, which culminate in Malchus Edom, and then finally our last hurrah is against Yishmael, who is much more parallel to us. Yishmael never really tries to exterminate us as a whole, but they do rival us for Eretz Yisrael. Okay, that's different. In other words, Hitler didn't care a lot about controlling the land of Israel and making his capital in Jerusalem. No, he wanted to destroy the Jewish people. Okay, so let's look at these events and let's understand them a little bit on a deeper level. That what is there? There's a shift. Now, when you say a shift between 7 and 10, that means that we're shifting regarding our relationship with 3 primary nations, which really represent Lot and Edom, are shifting. What does that mean? That means that we are exerting more of our Malchut, and their claims on Malchut are diminishing. You understand? The diminishment of their control. And a lot of it happens, by the way, Aver Liardain. Pretty much everything that's going on right now, right, is not on this side of the Jordan River, but it's in the part of Eretz Yisrael which belongs to Ammon and Moab, and to a certain extent, Edom.
Where is Ammon?
Ammon is Syria, northern Syria, and Moab would be more like southern Syria going into Jordan, and southern Jordan, like near Eilat, and going down into the Arabian Peninsula, really, right? is Arabia. The Arabs is Edom, and by the way, today Edom and Arav are intertwined. And this is a very important point that I will have to reiterate. The last phase of Malchus Edom started, of Galus Edom, started to break apart with the founding of the first states that separated church and state. Because the essence of Edom, according to Chazal, they viewed it, and our Rishonim, okay, everybody, the Ramban, many writers who witnessed the rise of both Islam and Christianity on the world scene and their dominance, they identified Edom with Christianity, not with Italy and not with southern Jordan, which was their land of origin, but it morphs. Edom, because it's an extensive malchus of 2,000 years, has geographic flexibility. It's more about the nation. And the core of Edom is who? The core is Amalek. The core of it. That's the tough part. That is the part of Esav which cannot be salvaged or redeemed. It's the Ra Shebe Edom.
Well, that's all we have to.
The evil of Edom. Timchet Zecher Amalek. Completely, totally. Without mercy and without cheshbon. Because it is pure evil and it must be eradicated. What is pure evil about it? Amlek means they want, literally, like a dog licks, they want to lick the blood of the Jewish people. They have one agenda. Amalek's agenda is to harm, physically harm and destroy Am Yisrael. Why? To prevent them from ascending to their destiny. Amalek will always rear its ugly head right before the Jewish people are about to take the next stage forward with Tikkun Olam. When did they first appear? Klal Yisrael comes out of Mitzrayim. We're on our way to Eretz Yisrael. Who pops their head in the first thing? Immediately, Amalek. Why? Stop the Jewish people from making it to their destiny. That's their job. Stop the Jewish people. They don't care about themselves. They will destroy themselves in the process. They have one agenda, to destroy the Jewish people at all costs. At all costs. I'm sorry, what are you saying?
They didn't want to get the Torah. That would be for Sinai.
Well, Edom didn't want the Torah in general because of our... That's also, by the way, in the Medrash there. There's the... Psikta Rabasi also, Parakaf Aleph, that speaks about, Hashem offering the Torah. And Edom didn't want the Torah because they said we cannot adhere to Lo Tirtzach. Our whole modus operandi is we rule by the sword. And if we can't rule by the sword, then, we're restricted and we can't. That's our power. We can't do without it. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam shakal yivray. Okay, so... if we are noticing what's going on, there is a fracturing of Esav. Esav has now two parts. The good part of Esav, the redeemable part of Esav, and the irredeemable part of Esav, which is also known as Amalek. So, I'll quote Rabbi Kessin, Mendel Kessin, who has a website, TorahThinking.com. He has a very nice explanation of all these things. I'm going to say it very tersely. This is all based on the Ramchal. That part of the process of Geula, that we misread Esav. Esav is described by Yaacov one of two ways. Hatzileni na miyad achi miyad Esav. Esav is either the ach or the Esav. Esav means Amalek. And achi is the good part of Esav, which is still problematic, but has a different role. And it's a polar opposite. The polar opposite of Amalek would be what? Well, if Amalek's job is to harm and actually exterminate the Jewish people, what would be the polar opposite of that? Financially support them, give them michya, give them protection so that they can live, and provide them wealth and support and protection. When was he inspired to do that? When Yaakov came, what does Esav offer him? He says, Nisa v'nelcha ve'ela kenegdecha. He says, let me do my job. My job is to offer you protection and to offer you sustenance, right? I'm gonna. And Yaakov says, you know what? I'll see you in Har Seir in a couple thousand years, you know? Why? Because Yaakov Avinu knew it was not yet time. Esav could not, at that point in history, separate out the Amalek from the Achicha. That's why he said, Hatzileni na mi'ad Achi mi'ad Esav, because he still, I'll offer this, was a combination of Achi and Esav, undifferentiated. But when they differentiate, Chazal tells us right there on the spot, Rashi quotes it, when will it be that there will be a time where Yaakov says, okay, I will come to you for your help and support. What is it? Va'alu Moshim lahar Tzion lishpot har Esav. Wait a second. When Klal Yisrael will return to Har Tzion, and the MALCUT Yisrael will be restored at that point simultaneously, Esav will have mishpat. What will be the mishpat? To break away the Amalek elements and reward the ones of Esav. Now, just remember, it's not like Esav is schizophrenic or anything, okay? It's not dual multi-personalities. It depends on us. If we are Zoche, we get the support of Esav. We are Sarim. We are, in Eicha, it speaks about the fact, Hayu Sarei al Rosh, Hayu Sarei al Rosh. That means that the Jewish people, wherever they go, are going to be princes. They're going to be princes. They're going to be in the intelligentsia and the political power and the pundits and the ones who provide parnasa. Ad nauseam, lahavdil, is these instances of where the non-Jews relied on the Jews for their success, right? But that flips at the end of days. No longer is it that we will serve them and be their princes, but Rav Ya'avod Sa'ir. So this is Rabbi Kessen's principle. He says, it's either Ya'avod or Ya'aved. It's the same, well, yeah. Well, and it's a punctuation. Yeah. Either they're going to destroy us or they're going to serve us. It's not two different people. If we are meritorious, we will get their support. If we fail and we rebel against Hashem and don't keep the Torah mitzvos properly, we will get hit by Amalek almost immediately. Why? Because their job is to bring us forward towards our tikkun. And that can be accomplished either through kiyum mitzvos or what? Yisurim. You're going to get where you need to go. Either you have to go through your Gehenna so that the Yisurim are cleansing you from your Averos, or you don't need that process, and you do tshuva, and you do mitzvos, and you do masim tovim. Those are your options. Tshuva and mitzvos on the one hand, Yisurim and Amalek on the other hand. It's not two different things. It's all one experience. It's Achicha Esav. Now, but there will be a final determination where Esav will only be on the side of Achinu, and at that point, Alu Moshim B'Har Tzion, Lishpat Esav, Amalek will be what? Destroyed. Okay. So now, that's correct. That was the Nevuah said. Now let's look at the events that has happened here in less than 2 weeks. About 2 weeks, okay? On April the 30th, okay? And I need you to give me the Omer count on this too, okay? On April the 30th, which corresponds to which day of the Omer? Danny, you're looking up for us? Yeah, I believe it was in the week of Yesod. Oh, I have a calendar here. Watch this. Wait one second, I'm sorry. It was... Yeah, you have a calendar handy? Okay, here we go. Hebrew calendar. We love applications. Which day of the Omer? What? It was Tet Zion, okay, of the month of ER, Tet Zion ER, which corresponded to which day of the Omer? Well, Chai Omer is Lag BaOmer, so that's in the week of Hod, right? No, what am I talking about here? Tet Zion. We need an Omer calendar. Who's got an Omer calendar?
Well, we can figure it out.
We can figure it out.
Chesed every,
Right,
every Sunday.
if you stay like this, that the 30th was Tet Zion, so Lag BaOmer, right, was Thursday, which would be Hod Shebahod. So it was in the week of Hod, okay? The week of Hod, right? It was in the week of Hod. So what day of Hod was it? Well, it had to be Netzach Gevura Shebahod.
This what? Sam? What was it?
No, Lag BaOmer was Thursday. Right, what are we doing here? I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong day. Sorry, stop that. Cancel. April 30th, right, was the 15th of ER, right? So if Hod Shebahod was on Thursday, then back it up. What's before that? Netzach Shebahod was the 17th, right? Gevura Shebahod, Netzach, then Tiferes Shebahod was the 16th, and the day before that was Gevura Shebahod. Gevura Shebahod. That was the day that the nuclear cache was. Now, Hod, as a week, corresponds to Aaron HaKohen. All right? Aaron HaKohen is the one who brings kapara to the Jewish people. He also represents shalom and achdut, right? And when you say Gevura Shebahod, what you're really saying is a strengthening of the unity. Hod is all about unity and getting along and the beauty of shalom, right? What the ikar thing of the Kohen is shalom. Netzach is about emes. That's Moshe Rabbeinu. Emes. Torah is emes. But the other side, counterpart of emes, is shalom. It's all about what? Peace. Interesting. The week of peace. The strongest day of the week of peace, where there was now the nuclear expose. I never say, did it bring peace closer or bring peace further away? Did it bring us further away towards war or away from war? You have to say that it was shalom. It was a part of shalom. Okay, now, we go forward that on the cancellation of the Iran deal was on May the 8th, correct? Which corresponds to, now we're in the week of Yisod, right? Yisod. Yisod is Yosef Hatzadik, right? Yisod. Now what happened?
I got a different date for that. The 10th showed up.
The 10th is the withdrawal from the Iran deal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. Well, whether it was the 8th or the 10th, oh, the parade was the 9th? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So remember, it goes like this. The first day of the week is always Sunday, right? Sunday represents the chesed. So it's chesed, gevura, tiferes, netzach. Netzach of Yisod, Hod of Yisod, and then Yisod of Yisod. So again, Hod. On the day of Hod, which is the day of peace, a day of peace for who? For Yosef. What does Yosef represent? Well, Mashiach ben Yosef is the Jews coming out of Galus towards the destination of Eretz Yisrael, right? The Atzmos Yosef are what get us out of Egypt. The schus of the tzaddikim, we now have tzaddik yisod olam, and that means that we are gaining wealth and prestige, right, and power. Not fully. We're not yet into the week of Malchus, but we're getting there. We're in stage Malchut Yosef. Remember, Shaul HaMelech is a king prior to. Now, who's the most famous people from the Shaul HaMelech family? What? From the B'nai, we'll call them the B'nai Rachel, Esther and Mordechai, who come from Shevet Binyamin. So that is Yisod is the week of Yosef and Binyamin. who are brothers. In fact, they're almost intertwined because Binyamin's 10 sons were all named after Yosef, right? And that really represents the transition between Galus and Malchus, right? Esther and Mordechai were king and queen of the Jewish people. But where were they living? Ironically, in Persia. So isn't it interesting that the withdrawal of the Iran deal happens in the week that we associate with Mashiach ben Yosef, Yosef Binyamin, and Persia. So Persia now, have to understand what's really going on over here. Amalek is being extracted from all of these entities. Because Amalek is like a host, like, Lahavdil. I think there was a movie a long time ago called Alien, and it comes onto you and sucks you out. Right? I never really saw the movie, but it looked scary and gooey and stuff. So, it kind of attaches itself, and what does it do? It takes over its host. It has its own agenda. That's Amalek. Amalek can be almost anywhere because that's Malchus Edom, is all pervasive. It's throughout the globe, the Roman Empire, the Christian world, all over the world. It will take on many shapes and forms. All of them, however, are foreign. The reality is that the Persians have a great schus, because what happened through the Persians, Adarabba, they're the ones who declare that Koresh, Melech Paras Amadai, he was the one who declared that the God of Israel has sent me to reestablish Jerusalem and the temple. It's exactly opposite of what Iran is doing. They're fighting with all their heart. Answer is, it's not really Iran. It's Amalek in charge of Iran. If we can extract the Amalek out of Iran, then it goes back to what it was 30 or 40 years ago. We were very good buddies with the Shah of Iran. The Shah of Iran is the spiritual and material inheritor of Koresh. In fact, if you go and ask Persians, that's their thing, that's their Lahavdil. Like we have George Washington, right? They have Koresh, Cyrus the Great. And any king of Persia that comes afterwards is considered, in his glory, connected to Cyrus. Now, Cyrus...
So cruel.
Who, Koresh?
No, the Shah of Iran. He was good to America, but he...
I don't know if he was cruel.
People and tortured people. And
All right, that's what Goyim do. But overall, I'll look at him in terms of being pro-West, pro-freedom, pro-prosperity. Can you compare to what's going on now? The oppression and the tyranny and the economic things, and using all the wealth of that nation for nefarious purposes, basically to destroy Israel. They want to use all their money to get a bomb to destroy Israel. So when the nuclear cache is exposed, it's one step of Persia going back toward